Hello, I'm Julian Bugini and welcome to another of those films in which we're bringing philosophy into your kitchen and ultimately to your table. Now, if you look at what we're going to cook today and the ingredients assembled for it, you might think it's some kind of parody of political correctness. We've got organic spelt flour, organic baking powder, organic cane sugar and organic hazelnuts. Some of those things are coming from workers' cooperatives, by the way. We've also got fair trade dark chocolate, fair trade bananas and free-range eggs. I mean, in this company, the supermarket almond oil looks positively wicked in the company. Add to all of that, what actually we're going to make is a kind of muffin, but as you can see from the ingredients, they're so wholesome that, you know, it's hardly an indulgence, it's more of a kind of monastic kind of food. I actually call them munkins. But what I'm hoping to show is that this isn't actually about self-denying Puritanism, and actually taking care to get ingredients which are ethically sourced is something perhaps we should all think more about doing. Okay, the basic principle of the munkin is 240 grams of dry ingredients, which in this case is going to be about 210 to 220 grams of the spelt flour and about 20 to 40 grams of sugar. But you could use a different flour, you could substitute some of the flour for oats, cocoa, ground almonds, or make them sweeter if you like. To this you add 5 teaspoons of baking powder and half a teaspoon of bicarbonate or soda. For the wet ingredients, you need to mix 250 grams of natural yogurt, 4 tablespoons of oil, and 2 large or 3 small eggs. Then it's a question of choosing a good filling, and I just really don't have any weights for these, just use my eye. Today I'm going to go for chocolate, banana, and hazelnuts. I'm not making this very sweet at all in terms of sugar, but I think with the banana and the chocolate and also a bit of vanilla extract which enhances sweetness, they'll be sweet enough. I don't particularly like these when they're too sweet anyway. When you read restaurant reviews or watch cookery shows, everything is evaluated on the basis of what people can hear, see, taste and smell at the time of eating. Now, I think this is a very shallow idea of enjoyment. We appreciate things better when we know more about where they came from and how they were produced. Indeed, not to care about such things is not only diminishing, but potentially immoral. Take as a thought experiment 2 cafes near you. Imagine they're pretty much the same in terms of what they serve and the quality, but you discover that one of them has cut its prices enormously, and they're able to do that because actually they're exploiting their labour force, paying them hardly anything. Now, in that situation, do you think you'd be morally justified in saying, hey, nothing to do with me, I just want that cheaper coffee, those cheaper cakes? I don't think you would. I think we recognise the fact that we don't have a right to have things cheaper if that's at the price of people being exploited. I think that if we discover that people at the end of supply chains in the developing world who are producing our food are not getting a fair deal, then we have a moral duty to change our shopping habits so that we shop in such a way that's responsible and gives everyone a fair deal. Too often when we buy food, we're like the people who continue to go to the cafe because it's cheap, even though they know, perhaps putting it out of their minds, that it's only cheap because people are being exploited. We enjoy cheap and plentiful food only because others are producing it for so little reward. Now, it's hard to know exactly what to do about that. I mean, fair trade, for example, is a scheme which I think has a lot going for it, but it's far from perfect and there have been some criticisms of it. Not all fair trade is necessarily fair trade. We haven't got time today to go through all the criteria you should use when shopping, but I think we do have an obligation to make an effort and support ethically produced food when we can. To be indifferent to the welfare of the people and animals who supply our food is to abdicate responsibility for the consequences of our shopping choices. So we're talking 200 degrees centigrade for, in my oven, a suspiciously specific 18 minutes. But every oven is different, so between 15 to 20. Now you can also make savoury munkins, and actually I'm going to show you one I made yesterday actually. This one's made with the same einkorn flour I use in the muffins film. And the filling feta cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, rosemary and black olives. They're really surprisingly tasty. Okay, so they've risen, they look lovely. I just need to shove a sharp knife in just to test whether or not they're done, although given that there's gooey chocolate and stuff, it's not going to come out completely clean. There's only chocolate coming out of that. They are done. It's not as though buying fair requires us to wear a hair shirt. I mean, these are a very nice, enjoyable treat. I'm really looking forward to having one later with an ethically sourced coffee, of course. I've just got to wait for them to cool down. Although, knowing me, I probably won't. Sorry, you want me to pretend taking them out again?